Hello, everyone. This is Tikva from Homeopathy for Humanity. And thank you for joining us once again as we are going through Materia, Medica, Pura. We are on part 3 of Aurum-Metallicum this Sunday evening. And Sanjay wants to say hi, I'm sure.
Hello everyone, I'm Sanjay Solanke and I'm co-founder with Tikva for this organization, and we are on the third part of Aurum-Met of Materia Medica Pura study. And what is the number? Symptom number?
Well, we finished off with symptom number 100 last Sunday.
Yeah.
So we start from 101.
And we will proceed from 100. Share the screen.
So starting with
Is it visible?
visible enough.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, symptom 101. Pain in one of the submaxillary glands as if it were swollen. Doesn't mean that it is swollen, but it means that it feels like it should be swollen because there's pain. 102. The gland beneath the earlobe, the parotid gland, is very painful when touched, like a gland pressed and squeezed between the fingers. You're taking a gland and you're squeezing it between the fingers. Squeezing it between the fingers. Okay. Next one, tearing pressure on the right side and lower part of the neck near the clavicle after 14 days. So we have the right side and we have the clavicle. And there's a tearing. Tearing means that it's like it's ripping. Pressure, like it's pressing on the right side and lower part of the neck near the clavicle. So in this area. And then there's a questionable symptom in parentheses, a jerking, tearing, shooting on the external clavicle muscles of the left side after 7 days. That one includes
1 minute.
tearing.
1 minute, Tikva. I would like to ask some question related to this with the students.
Okay.
What is cervical?
Cervical, sir. Back side. We have 7 cervical bones.
We have seen this in this animal. It mentions cervical muscle. And which side is Tikva?
Well, we're talking about the submaxillary glands. Oh, the cervical glands. Okay, you're talking about symptom number 100. Okay, that's dull aching when
Where
swallowing.
cervical muscle. There it has mentioned cervical muscle. Okay.
Which proving number is it?
I think 103, 2 or 3.
104, sir.
Oh, okay, it's
104.
I didn't get there yet. I didn't get there yet. A jerking, tearing, shooting on the external cervical muscles of the
Yeah,
left
that,
side.
that.
Okay, I got it.
Which side?
Left side.
Okay. Where is cervical area?
The back side. We have seven
Sir, back
cervical
side.
bones.
7 cervical bones, sir.
Yeah, cervical means it is related to vertebral column.
Yes, sir.
They are
Yes, sir.
present in.
First vertebral column.
Mhm. How many bones?
So 7 bones.
7 bones. When he is talking about left cervical area, right?
Yes, sir.
What you understand which muscles are there usually? Can you name
Then
one muscle in the cervical region?
till now we have not started the muscles.
One muscle is running from here to here, which form anterior border of posterior triangle. Posterior triangle, sternocleidomastoid muscle.
Yes, sir.
It's then one big muscle from here to back. Which one is that? Diamond shaped muscle. It's covers whole back, very big muscle. Trapezius.
Trapezius.
Back
T7
side.
to T12. T7 to T12.
Trapezius on the back side, then on the anterior side, sternocleidomastoid muscle, which is a space formed below here. Posterior triangle. Posterior, it is back of sternocleidomastoid. Anterior is here, anterior side. Okay, this is not, I just wanted to tell, as you are first year students, you should know when these words come in the reading, cervical muscle on the left side, what are the areas there? You should able to remind. Probably you will able, what may probably pain or where exactly that is related to. Is talking about neck? Is it talking about spine, or is it talking about the muscles? Muscles in which area? Then you should able to what you call memorize that what he is talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's continue.
Under ulcer 105, ulcer on the gums and swollen cheeks. Swelling of the gums on the posterior right upper molars with aching, sore pain when touched and when eating, whereby the pain extends the two backmost molar teeth, where it becomes an obtuse tearing. So we have, there's swelling, there's an ulcer in the gums. You know, the gums are the meat area above the teeth, the hold the teeth in, right? And swelling with the cheek. So we have some kind of infection. And then there's swelling of the gums in the posterior right upper molar with aching, sore pain when touched. So it's aggravated by touch, aggravated by eating, whereby the pain extends the two backmost molar teeth, where it becomes an obtuse tearing. Obtuse means that it's not fine, but it's kind of like a, how would we explain obtuse here? Remember, we have like geography.
Acute and obtuse.
Yes, it's a large,
Wide.
wide, perfect word. Okay, yeah, so wide angle of pain. Then on chewing, the upper incisors are very sensitive, with single stitches in the teeth, perhaps. Sudden attack of painful loose teeth, even the incisors. Remember, homeopaths are also dentists. Don't be confused. So many things we can handle with homeopathy that one would think requires a dentist, but does not necessarily. So yeah, we do a fair amount of dental work, at least where we live. I don't know in India. Sanjay, what do people consult homeopaths with their dental problems?
No,
No,
usually no.
usually no.
Mhm.
No, we can be of great use to help people with dental problems and toothache and stuff like that. So keep that in mind, because there is a lot of proving data on all different types of toothache.
Mhm.
Yeah, Boninghausen has a very large, interesting article about toothache. So does Herring. Herring has a whole small repertory on toothache because during the times of Boninghausen and Herring, modern dentistry had not yet been invented. So it was either lose your tooth or see the homeopath. So now we know that homeopathy has great utility in dental problems. Keep that in mind. Okay, sudden attack. Okay, 110. The molars feel on edge.
What is molar feel on edge mean?
That's a very good question.
Hmm?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
First, we need to understand what is molars.
Last week, premolars, after that molars come.
Anyone other?
The last three teeth on every side.
Mm-hmm.
These are molars.
Okay. Tikwa, are you there? Hello? Tikwa? What happened? Tikwa? Mike?
I probably lost my internet for a moment.
Mm-hmm. Tikwa, can you explain molar feels on edge?
Well, I would say that it probably means that it doesn't feel like they align properly. The alignment feels off. You know how your teeth fit together? That doesn't feel quite right with the molars. That makes sense?
Molar feels on edge. Edge means you don't actually, we are not aware of our teeth in the mouth. Even though we put teeth on teeth like this, eh? Even you are putting pressure, you won't feel them. Even some people may have impression on the tongue and impressions of that teeth on the lower teeth or upper teeth due to the constant pressure. Even though they won't feel them. But as these molar or teeth become more sensitive, you can feel that line. Because you can feel that there is something like on the edge.
There's also a metaphor in English that people feel on edge when they don't feel that things are quite right.
Yeah.
But here we're definitely talking about facial pain and tooth pain.
Mhm.
111, twitching pain in the upper row of teeth. What's a twitching?
Twitching.
Mhm. It's a slight stab.
What is twitching? Dev?
No idea, sir. What twitching?
Twitching, have you felt twitching in your eyelids sometimes?
Sir.
Have you felt?
Yes, sir. Yes,
वो आँख ऐसे ऐसी ऐसी होती है ना?
yes, sir.
Twitching means that involuntary constant contraction and relaxation.
Yeah,
Twitch or pulling it.
small spasms.
Yes.
Twitching pain in upper row of teeth. But how we can understand that symptom? Twitching pain.
A pain that comes and goes suddenly.
Hmm.
It isn't very severe. That's how I would understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Not severe. You know, sometimes they talk about really very severe pain in the proving data, and they say without any hesitation, severe pain. But a twitching pain would just be like a gentle, inconvenient, short pain. The next thing sounds interesting. An agreeable, milky taste in the mouth. Oh, I love these wordings. Agreeable means that they like it. Milky taste in the mouth. That would be like as if they've had milk, as if there's milk. It's like they drank milk and it tastes like that inside their mouth. Okay, does that make sense? And then there's sweetness in the forepart of the tongue. There's a sweet taste in the mouth. There's a lot of such symptoms. Like, for example, if people are sick with a cough, you can ask them what their cough tastes like. And that can be very important. If the cough tastes metallic, if the cough tastes sweet, if it tastes bitter, these are things that are important. Insipid taste in the mouth. Does anybody know what the word insipid means?
Very little
Mhm.
taste in the mouth.
Mhm.
Insipid.
Feeling very little taste.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean kind of icky? Kind of bland?
What is insipid?
Yeah, what is it? Anybody want to consult with Google on that?
Yeah. Little to taste, or it's sometimes like tasteless.
Okay, the next one,
Mm-hmm.
putrid taste in the mouth when not eating, like high game. Okay, this is hilarious, especially if you've never had high game, which I have never had high game. And so sometimes the proving data is very funny. Okay, high game. Remember, these are people in Europe. These are people who would shoot birds and deer, right, guys? Europeans
Yes, ma'am.
like to take a gun and shoot birds out of the sky and shoot deer in the forest. And that's called game. So high game is birds that they have shot for themselves or animals they have shot for themselves that have sat too long before eating them. Okay? So I have absolutely no idea in the whole world what high game tastes like, but it says that it's putrid. And when not eating, there's a very bad taste. Okay, putrid means it's disgusting. It's a very bad taste. Putrid taste in the mouth, not when eating, and it tastes like you've been eating high game. And that means animals that are on their way to rotting. Okay? Sounds bad, huh? Some of the things we can't relate to because they're not culturally part of our lives. And that just happens. So we can imagine that, what it might be like to eat birds or something that had been starting to go bad. Okay. So 116, sometimes a sourish in the mouth. So there's an occasional sour taste in the mouth. Then bitter taste in the mouth with a feeling of dryness. So we have dry mouth with a bitter taste. Then we have pleasantly sweetish saliva collects in the mouth. Then a kind of aching in the region of the palate lasting several hours. So somewhere in the back of the mouth, throat area, there's an aching. 120, attacks of stretching asunder of the gullet, as if to going to vomit, but without nausea. Okay, so you have to picture yourself vomiting and about how that feels in the back of the throat, about how there's kind of like that stretching feeling. If you can remember the last time you vomited, if there was a stretching feeling, that's what they're talking about. But there's no nausea with this vomiting. So there's a stretching in the back of the throat. The gullet means the back of the throat. It means basically the esophagus. Gullet is essentially the esophagus. So there's a sensation of stretching too hard. Asunder means like too much. So stretching asunder in the esophagus as if going to vomit, but without nausea. 221, another questionable symptom. Sore throat, like shooting soreness, only when swallowing after 7 days.
Oh, sorry. I think I have missed. What happened?
Somehow you scrolled up.
Ah, this.
Here we are. Sore throat, like shooting. You know what shooting is. Bang, 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 pew, pew, pew. Soreness, only when swallowing. Much mucus in the fauces for several days. That is where like the nose drains into the back of the throat. And then there's putrid smell from the mouth. That means that the person has bad breath and it smells very bad. Putrid means it smells like it's rotting. Then there's smell from the mouth like old cheese. Has anybody ever smelled old cheese? No?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so there's a lot of European cheeses that are aged cheeses. And there's things like, I know the smell because I know what they mean by these European cheeses that smell very strong and kind of sour. So it's an aged cheese smell. Okay, 125, bad smell from the mouth in the evening and at night, which he is not conscious of himself. So while undertaking this proving, somebody that he knows came up to him and said, "Ooh, you have really bad breath." And he said, "Thank you," and wrote it in his notebook. Right, guys? He didn't notice the note. He did not notice the bad breath himself, but somebody came along and told him, "Ooh, you have bad breath." Okay, so that symptom of not being conscious of the bad breath yourself is actually a symptom, and that is a rubric. And that is important. His food tastes well, which means good, but it does not quite satisfy his appetite, and he could eat again immediately. So he's enjoying his food, it tastes good, but he's still hungry after he eats his meal. While eating, the anxiety goes off. That means he was having anxiety, but the anxiety stops when he's eating. Then we have great thirst for 6 days. Then nausea in the stomach and throat. 130. Sanjay, here's one of your favorite areas of the body. Go ahead and read this one for us.
Scorbiculus cordis, as if swollen. Another word, usually not quite understandable or regularly used even in the medical school. What is corbiculus cordis?
Epigastric region.
Anybody? Students?
No, sir.
क्वेश्चन
No
आया कि
idea.
सबके कैमरे बंद हो जाते हैं? ये जो रिब्स है ना एपिगैस्ट्रिक के रीजन में जिपॉइड प्रोसेस के साइड की रिब्स, और अगर स्ट्रेट लाइन उसके नीचे थोड़ी सी लेते हो तो ये जो एंगल बनता है ना, वो
Yes, sir.
the soft part in the epigastric region, right in the angle of the rib. ये नीदर नहीं, सेंटर में, ये यहाँ पे, it is corbiculus cordis. Look, you have to remember every area when you are understanding the symptom, because location is very much important. Then scorbiculus cordis as if swollen. Feeling as if swollen means there is not in reality. He feels only as if you look, there might be no swelling, but he feels that.
But then,
the whole epigastrium, also swollen. And when press on, or when he laces herself tight, there is shooting there.
okay, what does it mean when she laces herself tight?
Wearing some kind of clothes which are tight. That part.
Yeah, you remember what okay, so we have a woman making this symptom here. She's narrating the symptom. And when she laces herself tight, there is shooting there.
Mhm.
You remember there's a old European garment called a corset?
Corsets, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
So we have to put all this into context. That these were European people in the 1800s and she was wearing a corset. Nowadays, thank God, we don't wear corsets. But people who have tried corsets say it's not necessarily that bad. Okay, so she has pain when she laces herself tightly into her corset. Shooting pain. Okay, the next one, pain in the stomach as from hunger. And then at noon, itching in the region of the stomach, aching in the abdomen, aching continued in the subcostal region as from flatulence, especially after taking some food or drink, often increased by movement and walking. It goes off at least almost without any discharge of flatus. Okay, so this person has some gas pains, which happen after having food or drink, and they're continual. It's a steady pain, increased by movement and walking, and it stops without really having to fart very much. (135) weight in the abdomen with icy cold feet and hands. So there's something that's happening in the stomach and that feels heavy, but there's icy cold feet and hands accompanying that symptom. That's what makes it particular. Aching in the abdomen and heaving as though she would vomit. Remember that word heaving? I don't think you guys were here the last time we tried heaving. Hey, does anybody know what heaving is? Can anybody demonstrate heaving?
Yes, like pulling bucket from well in one effort.
You know how to make that, what it's like when people are heaving? Can you demonstrate?
Aisha, can you demonstrate? Breathing.
Is it gonna have to be my job to demonstrate heaving?
Yeah.
Can you do it, Sanjay?
No, you can do.
Is it only me who's not self-conscious? I think that's the problem. I'm the only one who's not self-conscious. Okay, aching in the stomach and heaving as though she would vomit. Blah, blah, right? Is that before vomiting, that movement of all the things, the reverse peristalsis coming up. Is that before vomiting, right? Heaving.
Okay, ma'am.
That's heaving. Okay. So there is that aching in the stomach and that going on as though she was going to vomit. Then we go to tensive pressure in the hypogastrium, just below the navel and on both sides in the lumbar regions, the feeling of fullness most severe under the navel. Okay, this one's complicated. We have a tensive pressure. Tensive means that it feels like tense, like constricted and pressed in the hypogastrium, just below the navel. The navel means the umbilicus. So just below the belly button. And on both sides in the lumbar region. Okay, so we're going from the belly button to the back with a feeling of fullness, most severe under the navel. So there's a tense pressing in the hypogastric region, below the umbilicus, on both sides, in the lumbar regions. It goes to the back with a feeling of fullness, most severe under the navel. Does that make sense?
We assume that you guys know all the region of abdomen. We had one class. How many regions are there?
5.
5. How many?
5 regions of vertebral bones.
Mm-hmm.
Cervical, thoracic, lumbar,
No,
sacrum,
no,
and
no, no,
trochanter.
no, no. No, we are talking about a region of abdomen.
Ninth region.
9 regions.
9 region.
Yes, sir.
There are imaginary line, which mid clavicular line, both side, and trans-abdominal line, upper and lower. 2 lines horizontal and 2 lines
Vertical.
vertical will form 9 regions.
Yes.
So, where is hypogastrium?
Sir, it's near, it's up, a little bit upper on urinary bladder.
Can you repeat?
It's a, sir, it's actually 8th region. It's below the umbilical region.
Ah, okay. And where is lumbar region?
Sir, both side, right and left lumbar region.
Both right and left lumbar region.
Yes, sir.
Where?
They are situated by the umbilical region, both side of umbilical region.
Okay, center. It is a center row. Center row, right? In the middle, there is umbilical region, and both side
Yes,
there is
lumbar region.
lumbar region. And what are regions in the upper row?
Right hypochondriac region and epigastriac and left hypochondriac.
Means 2 hypochondriac, 1
And
epigastrium.
epigastric, yes, just above the
Epigastrium.
umbilical region.
Above umbilical, epigastrium, below umbilical, hypogastrium.
Hypogastric,
And to side of umbilical, lumbar, side of epigastrium,
iliac region.
side of epigastrium,
Epigastrium is hypochondriac, right and left.
hypochondriac, and side of hypogastrium, both side of hypogastrium,
Iliac region.
iliac region. Iliac region near ilium bone, of hip bone on this side, right? So
Yes.
you need to understand what symptom is saying, which location is they are talking about, Very important to understand. I am just elaborating this because you are just first year students and you have this anatomy class. And every part what we learn is very important. Okay? So Tikwa, I
Yeah.
think they understood where is hypogastrium and lumbar region and navel.
What's the word for belly button in Hindi?
Navel, umbilicus.
No, what's the name in Hindi?
Navi.
Navi, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure. These bold symptoms are characteristic. I think I pronounced right now.
You did it. You did it. Congratulations. Characteristic. A lot of these things are characteristic, but the ones in bold have more importance.
Mm-hmm. Then,
Okay, so we were just in tensive pressure again in the hypogastrium.
Just I have one question, sir.
mm-hmm.
Dr. Henneman characteristic given on and not given the guiding symptoms? Or they had given?
All of them can be characteristic. Characteristic means a whole lot more than it's just in the proving. It can be its relationship in the disease state. It can be with a concomitant. It can be with a time modality. I would not say that the ones in bold are only the characteristics because, you know, when I'm reviewing Materia Medica Pura for a prescription, I'm not only looking at the bold, I'm looking for whether or not all the symptoms fit in a remedy.
Is there any software which is the based on the Materia Medica Pura?
Yes, and I've tried to install it into my computer a few times. Beer Home has it. And I've tried installing it, but I've had trouble installing it. And it's very affordable in India, but they've made it very expensive, very costly for people outside of India, which I think is not very friendly.
Okay.
So I have tried, yeah, you can get it from Beer Home. I haven't tried it yet because I've had trouble installing it. And now my PC is broken. So I don't even have Windows operating anywhere and it needs to operate on Windows. So I have a software problem. Lately, I've been using polarity analysis, which is a Boninghausen software. Because like I said, my PC broke and I really want to try the Beer Home software because what you do is you just type in the symptom and it brings you to the symptom in the proven data, which is really, really fun. But I've had a lot of trouble trying to install it, and then you only get 40 days free. And they want a lot of money for it for people outside of India because there's like this idea, I think, that people have this false thought that everybody outside of India is wealthy, which is not true. It's just not true. I mean, our economies are not the same. Therefore, money is not the same. But that doesn't mean that people have a fortune to spare for their software. So that's a little bit of a complaint I have there. You know, you see classes advertised from Indian people, and they'll ask, 10 times or more the same amount of money, 10 times or more what they'll ask for somebody who lives in India to join a class, if you've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would love to install the Vera Home software. Maybe when I can fix my computer or upgrade this computer to Windows, which I was kind of hoping one of my kids would help me with, but there's nobody around right now. So we'll wait and see. But it's so costly to run that software. Anyway, I use polarity analysis. Polarity analysis gives me some very good suggestions for which remedies to consider in Materia Medica. And when you don't have a remedy in Materia Medica Pura, then you go to, let's say, Heron's guiding symptoms.
Thank you.
Continue.
You can continue.
Hmm?
You can continue.
Okay. Tensive pressure in the hypogastrium on both sides in the lumbar region, but more severe just below navel with calls to stool after 6 hours. You can just understand this symptom with that feeling of urging to stool. Sometimes when you have some pains in the lower part of abdomen. Single tearings in the right side of abdomen up to beneath the rib, as if all there was smashed, which compels him to bend double when sitting. After 36 hours, 140. In the afternoon, shooting is felt, shooting in the left side of the abdomen like stitches in the spleen. Never forget these locations. Pinching pain in hypogastrium, sometimes here and sometimes there. Means there is severe pain also, and there is some small pinching pain here and there in the whole hypogastric region. Pain like contraction in the abdomen. Flatulent colic, which number is there? 41, 42, and 43. 143. Flatulent colic about midnight. Much flatulence is quickly developed, which cannot find to an exit. Painful rising up here, and there. One minute. I think this is. We understand this. Flatulent colic in the midnight. Much flatulence quickly develop. Cannot find exit. What is the another symptom, or you can say rubric we can find?
Accumulation of gas.
Yeah, it is from gas, but there is another word. Incarnated. What is that word?
Gastritis.
Huh?
Gastritis.
No. Where gas is trapped inside the abdomen. Tikva?
Incarcerated flatulence.
Yeah, incarcerated.
It's stuck. It's not moving up and it's not moving down. It's stuck. like a bubble of gas.
Mhm. It cannot find his exit and painfully rises up here and there, presses and resists and causes anxiety, equally felt when at rest and when moving.
That's important.
He is anxious when there is a flatus which doesn't find way and is trapped inside abdomen. That makes anxious, which is not relieved even by rest or by moving.
Which symptomatically is very important. So you have that there's gas trapped in the stomach. It's not better from rest. It's not better from moving. The gas is trapped. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's not going out. And it's causing anxiety. It's causing nervousness and stress and worry.
Flatulent colic,
With the physical symptom.
flatulent colic soon after lightest, most moderate meal.
So after a simple meal,
145, a rumbling in the abdomen, grumbling in the abdomen. What is grumbling?
noises,
Oh?
movement
Mhm.
noises.
Mhm.
There's a technical word for it.
Grumbling and rumbling in the abdomen.
Grumbling, rumbling. There's a technical word for it.
Dis-
For
What is?
there's a technical word for stomach noises.
Rumbling.
Okay, so after all this grumbling in the abdomen, the next symptom is, what is it?
Discharge of much footed flatus.
What does fetid mean? What does fetid mean? It smells bad.
Flatus.
And what's flatus?
Gases.
Right. So he's farting horrible smells.
Bad smells.
Bad smelling gas.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
150, colic. This is
Colic.
journal entry.
Uh-huh.
Some name is there in the bracket, you can see.
Uh-huh. Ephem Nat Cure, December 2nd, NO6. Yep. So an old journal entry.
Pain as if bluish in the right hypogastrium when sitting, which goes off on rising up. When he draws up the thigh after 24 hours. You can imagine this symptom.
You could even do it for us, Sanjay.
Mhm.
When
There is
he
pain.
stands up.
Right, this right hypogastrium. When sitting, when he is sitting, there is a pain and it goes off when he gets up from sitting position.
Show us how to get up from the sitting position that stops the pain.
And when he draws his thighs like this, that
Exactly.
time also the pain goes off.
Yeah, so when it says the pain goes off, it means it ameliorates. So this person's having a pain as if bruised in the right hypogastrium when sitting, but only when sitting, right? And then when he stands up, it's better, it's ameliorated. And when he draws up a thigh, it's ameliorated. Okay?
Pain in groin as from swollen inguinal glands. Here inguinal gland means lymphatic glands. Protrusion of hernia with great pain like cramps. Flatus seems to get into hernia.
You know how a
There is,
hernia is a,
there is a very word for this when herniated part goes inside the inguinal ring, and when something goes inside, here it is flatus, but food also goes from that. It goes and it passes from. But here it is bulging out. There is a great pain like crampy pain in inguinal region. Flatus seems to get inside hernia. Tikva, whatever you are saying?
she's explaining about how there's the abdominal wall, and if there's a hole in the abdominal wall, that it can protrude, there can be a protrusion that sticks out from the abdominal wall. And if that herniates through the tissues, that sometimes the, what's it called? The intestines can get trapped like that. Sometimes if it's a very small hernia, you can just press it back in. But other times can get really protruded, and that it can become dangerous. But there are a number of different remedies for herniations of the abdomen that are very important and very useful. And we need to remember that even if a patient needs to go for surgery, that the appropriate medicine given will increase the person's well-being. So even if there's an urgent situation and somebody needs surgery, we still want to give the indicated remedy, because we need to correct the internal problem. Because remember, disease is dynamic, and no surgeon can correct a dynamic disease. So even if surgery is done, we still want to go back and give the appropriate medicine indicated in the disease state to treat the dynamic condition. After somebody's had a hernia repair, unless we correct that dynamic problem, there's a good chance of it reoccurring. And so this is a very important thing to do.
Do you understand what is mean by hernia? Do you know what is hernia?
Yeah, I do. That's why I was talking about it.
Mhm. Suppose this is the intestine and this is the abdominal wall. The coil are inside the abdominal wall. And sometimes where there is a weakest point, this intestine may protrude outside from that. and there is a natural opening in the inguinal ligament from where the content of abdomen passes inside the thigh region. For them, it is the opening. Upper side there is one ring and below there is one ring. This content will pass from that ring, one part, otherwise it will just pierce the superior wall of canal and go inside the canal like this. Okay, like this. But what happens? Food will go from or here and it will travel. And sometime gas also goes. But when gas passes, this part is bulge a lot in this symptom. And there is strangulation. Strangulation means it is trap. This part is trap like this. And the content which might not pass from the intestine. This is called strangulatory. Huh? And this is strangulation is also very emergency situation. Usually surgeons will operate, but most of the time in homeopathy, this strangulation also get released very easily because it is only a spasm. You need, first of all, you need to understand what is hernia. Hernia is herniation of one part into another. A simple word. एक हिस्सा दूसरे हिस्से के अंदर अगर घुस जाता है तो
Okay, just one question. Means Dr. Hanneman want to say कि when the drug movie is going on Aurum-Met, it means produce the hernia. It is a disease symptom.
Produce. What is the word?
What?
What is the word?
Back in those days, people would walk around with mild hernias.
Okay.
They would just walk around with mild hernias as part of their daily life. They would wear things that would compress the herniation in. They would press the hernia in whenever needed. And because repair surgery was not to the same level as it is today. So in the 1700s and the early 1800s, it was more dangerous to try to fix a mild hernia than it was to just leave it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of different symptoms of herniations because a lot of men are prone to these herniations and they are not uncommon in the proving data because people walked around with mild hernias, just as a matter of fact. And you'll see here that the Aurum-Metallicum is one of the very good remedies for hernias. And you see that there's weakness in the groin, drawing out of the groin down into the thigh, in the bend of the groin and in the tendons of the lower muscles, a want of mobility and stiff pain when walking, and spreading out the legs as after a long journey on foot. So there's a lot of different herniation kind of type sensations and situations in Aurum-Metallicum. And you want to remember that. And it is one of the remedies indicated in congenital hernia as well. And there's also communicating hernia where there's a hydrocele in this remedy. Okay, so we have cutting blows in both groins, during which he is obliged to draw in the abdomen and draw up the legs. So it feels better pulling in the abdomen, sucking in your stomach and pulling up your legs. And then forcing in the right groin I have a hard time with that word, inguinal region, as if a hernia would protrude when sitting. On stretching out the body it stops on standing. A twitching, pinching in the left side of the pelvis, which make him start and jump. You know what start and jump means? I mean, doing this, that. Got it? Start and jump. Startle and jump. Okay? 160, cramp-like pain on the inner border of the pelvis in the neighborhood of the hip, which is increased by rubbing after 36 hours. So there's a cramping pain in the inner border of the pelvis in the neighborhood of the hip, which is increased by rubbing. You can just feel that area on your own body and you'll feel where that is. Pinching pain in the inner side of the, what is this, an ischius? Where's the ischius?
Ischias.
Where is
Ischium.
it?
Ilium ischium.
Where would that be?
Nerve on the lower back on both legs.
Buttocks.
Then there's sharp stitches in the anus and rectum. So there's a stitching pain in both the anus and the rectum. There's discomfort in the hypogastrium and a feeling as if he wanted to go to stool, especially after a meal. So there's discomfort in the lower abdomen. Feels like he needs to go to the bathroom, especially after he eats. 164, every morning soft stool with some pinching. So there's a pinching pain when he goes to the bathroom. 165, unusually copious stool in the evening. This is an irregular thing for the person, so that's how it came into the proving data. Then we have diarrhea. Then we have nocturnal diarrhea with much burning in the rectum. That means diarrhea at night. Then we have very large formed stool and hence difficult discharge of the feces with whitish yellow stool. Okay, so the stools are too large and they're very difficult to pass. So we have both constipation type events and diarrhea type events in this remedy. Then there's frequent but ordinary stool. Then there's constipation for 3 days in a row. And then there's a possible symptom, in parentheses, the quantity of urine passed is greater than the amount of fluid he has drunk. Then there is constant call to urinate, whereby little but natural urine is passed. So with that constant call to urinate, but only a little bit passes at a time, and have a few different 174, tooth shooting in the urethra. So there's pain in the urethra. Everybody know where the urethra is? Urethra is where the pee comes out of the body, the urine comes out of the body, right, guys? And 175, in the morning after getting up out of bed, frequent erections and desire for sex. So in the morning after getting out of bed, this person is having erections and wanting to have sex frequently. Not just it happened here or it happened there, but it's frequent. It's unusual for them. And then there's very much increased sexual desire, which had previously been long dormant in him. Ah, that looks like a curative symptom. So for somebody who had not had any desire to have sex, they had increased sexual desire, very much so. So that's good, because we should all have sexual desire. Nocturnal erections for many nocturnal erections with
Hello.
having an erection.
Tikwa, you
Then it
froze.
notes that there are erections.
You froze.
Hmm.
You
How am I
can
supposed to freeze?
repeat 173. Sorry, 77.
How am I supposed to freeze when we're talking about erections?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. If I'm freezing, you go ahead. You talk about the erections.
Okay, natural erection without seminal emission. First night. Seminal emission for 3 successive nights without subsequent weakness.
But does everybody know what a seminal emission is? Sanjay? Use the word in Hindi?
Hmm?
Maybe use the word in Hindi so everybody knows what it means?
I don't know what is a word in Hindi for this.
Don't know the word in Hindi? Marathi?
No.
Good Lord. Okay. Anybody? We have to check just like, okay, if we're going to be healthcare practitioners here, we need to be able to review these topics just as easily as we review foot pain or headache, okay? We have to be very just upfront and practical about this. Okay, so we have nocturnal erections. Can we say that in Hindi?
Hindi natural emission. No, I don't know right word. Anybody knows?
Maybe Sigra Patan, or I think also like that.
Hindi word actually I don't know what.
We have a number of males here. And the females need to know what these things are too.
Mhm.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, continue.
Go ahead.
Okay, 180 natural emission following nights. At night, seminal emission with voluptuous dreams. What is voluptuous dreams?
Voluptuous. Okay.
Voluptuous.
This prover is having erections in the night with dreams about sex. Do we know what this is called in Hindi? Is there a word for this in Hindi?
There is word, but hardly we know the exact. Pure Hindi, those who know probably might know.
I just want to make sure that the people here understand what we're talking about. So that when somebody comes into their clinic and they talk about this problem, that they're not going to be confused.
Okay.
So voluptuous dreams means having dreams about sex. They're just putting it politely here. I'm just putting it into modern language.
Mhm.
And then we have for proving number 181, 182, we have in the night erections and pollution. So there is erections and ejaculation in the night, with or without dreams, because this one does not mention dreams. Then we have prostatic fluid escapes from a flaccid penis. Okay, so this man, this prover, does not have an erection, yet fluid is escaping from the penis. Next, we have shooting, tearing on the glans penis when he has a call to urinate. So when he needs to pee, he is having pain on the tip of the penis. 185, needle pricks on the point of the glans penis. Each is followed instantly by a stitch over the navel towards the scorbiculus cordis. Okay, so he's having pain at the tip of his penis, each followed instantly by a stitching pain over the navel, rising up towards the scorbiculus cordis. And then we have in brackets, very painful twitching in the penis backwards.
Backward.
Mhm. So that's an extending, it sends from the front backwards, a twitching pain, a very bad twitching pain. Then we have aching in the scrotum. The scrotum is the sac of skin which holds the testicles, right, guys? Ladies, guys means all inclusive people. When I say guys, it just means everyone. Okay, so the scrotum is that sac of skin which holds the testicles. So there's itching of that skin. Then there is aching, tensive pain in the right testicle as from a contusion. Okay, there's pain in the right testicle as though there had been like a bruising, like it had been hit by something. Contusion means like a bruising or having been hit by something. Next one, 189, swelling of the lower part of the right testicle with aching pain only when touched and rubbed, which commenced every evening about 6 p.m. and went off again around 11 o'clock. Okay, so we have pain in the lower right testicle that hurts. It starts at 6 p.m. and stops at 11 p.m. And then we have 190, which is something that's a little bit more understandable for us females. Labor-like pains in the abdomen, as if the menses would come on. So if you ladies notice sometimes, maybe before you have your period, you notice that there's a little cramping in the lower abdomen. But this is not a little cramping. This is labor-like pains. Being in labor is intense. So that he's saying that there's intense pain, like in rotations, it comes in shifts, it comes a little bit here, a little bit here. It comes and goes, just like labor does. Labor is a contraction of the muscle, and the uterus also contracts when there's going to be menstruation. So saying that it's very bad, it is, it can be fairly normal for somebody to have a little bit of discomfort in the abdomen right before their period or during their period, but they're saying it's severe. You went a little too far up.
1 minute. Mhm.
Riza. We're going into the cold type symptoms now. Okay, when are we ready to stop tonight?
200.
Okay, so what's Croiza?
We are on to 192.
Yep, so what is this symptom? What is this?
Coryza,
Yeah, what is it?
a discharge from nose.
Yeah. Essentially, it's having
Inflammation, inflammation of the nasal lining of mucous membrane.
very good, very good. We got to this definition much easier than the erections and the seminal emissions, right? But as homeopaths, you need to be just as comfortable talking about nasal discharge as you are about ejaculation. Okay, in the morning, on awaking, dry catarrh, tightly seated in the chest. He can only cough up a little bit of viscous mucus with great effort. And this only after first getting up from bed. Okay, so there is mucus in the airways, in the chest, and he can only cough up a little bit. Viscid means that it's thick mucus. It's not thin, watery mucus, it's thick mucus, and it takes a lot of effort to cough it up. But this happens first getting up from bed. Then we have a general cough. Then we have great tightness of the chest when walking in the open air. So there's a tightness, it's hard to breathe, but it's only when walking in the open air outside. 195, very great tightness of the chest. So there's a lot of trouble breathing. Then there's tightness in 196, tightness of the chest when he laughs or walks quickly. He feels his chest too tight on inspiring, breathing in, and it seems to him that the chest is too flat. Interesting. Then there's tightness in the thoracic cavity and on inspiring of 2 stitches here and there in the chest. Okay, so both of these are when inspiring, when breathing in the air, not breathing out, breathing in, taking in air. Then we have extreme tightness of the thoracic cavity with difficulty with breathing at night. These are important things to know because there will be those asthmatic patients and there's ones with things like pneumonias and bronchitises. This can cover all those different pathologies and the indication being tightness, worse breathing in the air, and worse at night. Tightness of the chest, also when sitting and when not moving. Not allayed, allayed means better by, not better in any position. He always takes a deep breath and cannot get enough air. So we have respiration difficult. There's difficult respiration. And it's not better by any position. For example, you'll have somebody come in and say that they're having trouble breathing, but if they sit up at night, they can breathe. And things like that. But they're saying here it's not better in any position. And then symptom 200, cough on account of want of breath at night. Just can't breathe well enough and it's causing coughing.
Okay. we are done to today's session. 100 rubrics, 100 symptoms. I think it was fun.
Yes,
Though
sir.
some people already slept.
I think it was more that we talked about uncomfortable topics. This is where you need to get over the uncomfortable topics. It takes time, I understand, but it needs to be done.
Okay. Thank you, guys. From next, we will have Aurum-Met part 4, which begins from 201. And I think it will be go long study for Aurum-Met.
Yeah, it goes, there's 157 more. Almost twice
So
the
we have to complete all those in next session.
We'll have to just work fast, guys.
Hmm.
And then later on, we're going to have the mental symptoms. The mental symptoms come at the end in Materia, Medica, Pura. And so many people rely on the mental symptoms of Aurum metallicum that they quite forget about the abdominal symptoms or the cough symptoms or the fever symptoms. Yeah, we have yet to get to fever. And the sleep. The sleep is interesting in Aurum metallicum as well. So yeah, there's every proving has a full range, and anybody who only focuses on one set of symptoms is not going to get a complete case. Therein lies the challenge of the homeopath.
So any questions? बहुत questions है. Questions to even I have questions. हाँ तो you have to dare to ask questions. As it is Materia Medica, we just need to understand the symptoms. You don't have to interpret anything or frame any thing in our own ideas. Just understand what the symptoms are. So that way we can find the exact facts in the patients. So thank you, guys. We will conclude today's session over here. And thank you very much for attending. And thank you over there, other people who are watching our videos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. It is a wonderful session.
Bye, guys.
Sir, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Bye, sir.